So I'm going to be answering Fiona's third set of questions. Just the first one about, suffering or pleasure. Did the narrator enjoy his invisibility? Did he find his existence to be one of suffering or pleasure? So I do believe that the narrator's existence was both pleasure and suffering due to his invisibility. So I don't think it's fair to say that it was one or the other because I'm sure we can find evidence for them both being, um, hard, like hard and also beneficial. So there are obviously major downfalls to his invisibility, especially that it's wearing on his nerves. So he resents the world for feeling that he is no more than a nightmare to most people, and similarly, he deals with the repercussions throughout his whole existence due to through living situations, sources of energy, and basically existing throughout the world. So when he walks around, um, you know, it's almost like he's not there. So that can only put so much wear on his emotions and his mind and his self worth. But although like any other challenge, the narrator has grown as a result of it. He goes on to explain that as a result of his invisibility, the darkness associated with and the darkness associated with it confirms something within itself. So through the reading, it says, "I have been boomeranged across my head so much that I can now see the darkness of lightness, and I love light. Perhaps you'll think it strange that I am an invisible man, that an invisible man should need light, desire light, love light. Maybe it is exactly because I am invisible, light confirms my reality." So, if he wasn't invisible and he didn't feel in the dark, light wouldn't do this for him, and he wouldn't find the value in light itself and in being in putting himself in a situation where he has to look on the brighter side. Though there is this, I'm so sorry. Though there is this upside, the narrator begins to rely on the light to fill the void created by society. So the narrator notes, "Without light, I am not only invisible, but formless as well. And to be unaware of one's form is to live a death. I myself, after existing some 20 years, did not become alive until I discovered my invisibility." So if he didn't have this light, and you can imagine there was at one point he didn't, he said he was living a life of death. It felt so terrible that he was consumed by it. But having life, he discovered his invisibility and the pros and cons that come to it. So, the growth associated with this challenge has made the narrator stronger and more conscious, and as his own grasp of invisibility aids him to understand music, such as Louis Armstrong's that was noted in the reading. And invisibility gives one slightly different sense of time. You're never quite on beat. Sometimes you're ahead and sometimes you're behind. So through this struggle, the narrator has illuminated the blackness of his invisibility and vice versa. So, you know, I think you'd have to take it with a grain of salt, and just like with any conflict anyone reaches in their life, it obviously it's not the ideal situation, and um, it has its really low lows, but you grow from it. And I think that he wasn't a victim of his circumstance, and he, took charge in the ways that he knew how. And I'm sure further on throughout the reading, if we were to read um, alongside the narrator and his progress, we would see that it wasn't for any reason or no reason at all for him to have gone through this, and he's a much better person outwards of it. So I would have to say that it's both, and I think that a lot of people will understand that. Thank you.